Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to the Dear Dad podcast. This is the place where we address dad dynamics and discuss personal experiences, stories, and poem submissions to help provide a platform for healing while simultaneously uplifting one another. Let's change the dad narrative all around. Let's go. Let's grow. Hello, you beautiful people. Thank you again for joining me at Dear Dad podcast. My name is Bjimson Darius, aka BJ. Now, today I have a special guest. So the story I have with this guy is that he reached out to me a while back to do a podcast for him, with him, I can say, and I was honored. But after that, I reached out to him. I was like, I want to do a podcast, and I reached out to him, and I was just like, bro, like, I just need you to just like sample it, tell me how it's like, tell me exactly what you think about it. And I was nervous, and he called me back. He was like, you're doing a good thing. Do whatever you got to do. If you got to go deep, go deep. And I was so honored. I was so blessed to have this guy in my life. We have a conversation. I feel like he's my brother. I can honestly call you my brother.
Absolutely.
The relationship that we have is so great and so fluid and so easy, and I love it. But you know what? Let me not take the shine away from you guys. Let me introduce you guys to Mike Dorsey. What's going on, brother?
What's up, my brother? How are you today, man?
I'm doing well.
Man, I'm honored to be on your show, man, and to share your beautiful platform with your listeners and those that are, looking to kind of grow and become the best version of who they are, man. So I'm honored that you would want to have me on your platform, man. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a long time coming. But we're here.
What I say, the best things come to those who wait, right?
Absolutely. And I would wait for you. I have no problem doing that.
Oh, man.
So let's just jump in. So tell me and tell everybody else, who is Mike Dorsey?
Who is Mike Dorsey? Well, honestly, man, I am a husband to my beautiful wife, Maisha, and I'm the father to my little munchkins, Morgan and Maxwell. My goal is to live on purpose every day, walking in my calling. And my calling, honestly, is to, help individuals become the best version of themselves, through being a performance and personal development coach. But then also through the podcast and through various media outlets, just using the gifts and the skills and the experiences that I've been blessed with to pour into other people. And so for me, it's all about that, man. Literally walking in purpose, putting one foot in front of the other and, walking by faith, not by sight at times. Well, actually all the time. That's the goal. But I'm human. Right. So sometimes it's not, I want a little bit of sight at times. Right. But the reality is it's a struggle in which I want to walk by faith and not by sight, and walk in purpose and make an impact and make things better, after I leave. So that's, in essence, in a nutshell, who I am.
Oh, yeah. In a nutshell. Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. And I know from the beginning I was just, talking about the appreciation that I have for you. And I really want to emphasize on that. Like the fact that I'm able to call you and you're able to respond to me and you're able to cater to what I was asking for. And I'm very honored that you were able to do that, because you've been in the game for a while. Mm-hmm. You seasoned. So I was like, let me just reach out to this brother. And two, I mean, we've had a conversation before.
Absolutely.
We had a relationship before.
We have a relationship. Let me
reach out to you. Yeah. We had a relationship.
And I'm gonna throw, the thing is though, man, like when you notice somebody walking in purpose, I think it's incumbent upon all of us, especially when we notice other brothers walking in purpose, doing a good thing, leading with something that's going to add value to society. We need to do any and everything possible to pour into that. And so whatever we can do, we should do that. And I know a lot of us don't always do that. We look at things from the perspective of it being like a zero-sum game where there's a competition. But the reality is, it's not about, you're not competing with anybody, right? You just should want to help other people walk in what they're supposed to walk in. And if you notice a glimmer of, wow, dude got something special going on, pour some gasoline on that fire if you have the opportunity, because that's what we're here to do, man.
Yeah. And I think because you did that for me, I've had other people reach out to me saying that, since you've been in the game for a while, and pretty much the same thing I said to you, can you sample what I did and then just get back to me or leave me a comment? I was just like, no problem. You know what? I've been there. I was in your shoes starting out and not being a little bit insecure about it. And to get a feedback from someone that's been in the game for a while, it makes you feel like you can do it. You can move forward. You are able to succeed, because again, our duties as brothers, I'm gonna say, is
that's right.
If when we're making it, we need to literally reach our hand back and help the others that's behind us. If I'm successful, I need to have somebody else that's behind me that's successful. But I can't be successful by myself. It is
Dude,
absolutely meaningless if I am by myself.
man, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the goal is to light other candles, because if you light other candles, then eventually we have a whole slew of candles lighting everything up, and then everybody can see. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you, there was a quote by, it's a guy named P.L.O. Lumumba, Patrick Lumumba, in I forgot what part of Africa he's in right now, but he's a speaker and I think a professor. But one of the things that he said in one of the talks he gave on YouTube, he said, "True success is when my successor succeeds."
Yes.
And so when you stop and you think about that, sometimes we think about it from the standpoint of our lineage, our kids, but it's not always about our kids. It's about who's next in line in regards to what it is you do. And it's all about setting the groundwork for somebody else to take that platform and run with it. And so we have to make sure that others succeed, because otherwise it's really not true success if somebody can't come behind you and succeed as well.
Absolutely. I agree. I 100% agree. And again, I have a couple of people that reach out to me and ask me this question. And I was like, yo, I'm here for you, whatever you want. You want me to be in the podcast? No problem. You want me to be one of the in the episode? No problem. You want comments? No problem. Like I've had this dude that just said, look, can you go and just give me like a comment? I'm like, no problem. Like this is what we need to do. We need to support one another so we can just help each other grow.
That's a brotherhood, man.
That's all it is. That's all it is. I am not in this game for myself. It's literally, I need to make it so others can make it. And that's been my motto for a long time. And the fact that you set that example for me, help me set that example for somebody else. And I appreciate that about you. And I completely continue to applaud you.
Well, thank you, brother, man. Again, somebody's done that for me, and it's a duty. So,
yes.
And I'm loving the opportunity to be able to do it. So that's it, man. We got to carry it forward, brother.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So let's jump back to the next question. So Tell me about your dad.
It's interesting, man. My dad and I have, we had a complicated relationship growing up, but I love my dad with all my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like he's my dude. But one of the things that was challenging about growing up was, my dad suffered from the disease of addiction. And because of that, that brought some different dynamics into the mix that necessarily weren't desired. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, he's still been there, and he's still been in my life. He's still in my life to this day. And he and my mom are still married. And, I just talked to him not long ago before this interview. But because of that, the disease of addiction, it brought some situations that, honestly allowed me to see life from a different angle. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times when you grow up in a situation that's perfect, you don't have the opportunity to develop empathy and understanding for people who are dealing with various challenges and circumstances, because you don't experience that. And so at times I can look at the situation of growing up, in that particular environment as a blessing, because it gave me empathy and understanding, but then it also helped me to understand addiction, and for me to get to a place in which you hate the disease of addiction, not the person. And it took me a long time to get there, because growing up, when you don't really unpack it, you get to the point in which you start to hate the individual, or you start to have issues with the individual. And that is a challenge, because the reality is addiction is a disease. And so for me, it's been literally, it's taken me decades to get to a point in which I understood it. And part of it was the fact that I started to unpack his situation and his growing up, and the fact that, he dealt with trauma, as a kid that was never handled. They never did therapy. They never, had outlets. And so to that point, his outlet was, substances at the time. And so to that point, it gave me an understanding of the need to heal from trauma, the need to heal from issues, because unhealed issues lead to potential, negative decisions on the back end, because you take healing into your own hands, right? Yes. Or so-called healing. Again, it's taken a long time to get to a point in which I fully understood the full ramifications of it, because as a kid growing up, you just get mad. You're just upset. You're just angry. You're like, well, why are you not here? Or why are you not there? Or whatever. And but then when I look back on it, I understand it, and I have empathy, and there's always love there. You know what I'm saying? And we have a relationship, and it gives me understanding, but it also has prepared me to interact with, understand, and have empathy for other individuals that I encounter throughout life, because nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect myself. You know, we all have issues. We might not have the same issues, but we all have issues. And so that being said, again, my dad's in my life. He's been there. He's been a force in my life. But again, there were challenges. And I will say the other part to it was my mom was always very instrumental in keeping very strong, positive role models around my brothers and I. And so we always had, you know, my grandfather, and we had uncles and Boy Scout leaders and leaders in the church and neighbors and coaches. I mean, we always had, you know, a plethora of brothers around. And so for me, I see the value of the community as well. So I see this village principle. I see the nuclear family principle. I see the potential, you know, Cosby Show situation, but then I also see the ramifications of addiction. So I've seen all of that, and that's all kind of mixed up to bring you who I am to this day, which to me is this individual who's not perfect, but I have empathy and understanding based off of my experience.
Yes. I 100% agree. I think you said something earlier when you said, because you went through that, you have a tough skin now. You have a better understanding of it. And when we were children, and especially me, I mean, I'm going through my experience myself with my father. I always trying to figure out why it didn't happen. Why didn't this happen? Why, or if. And I think when you said this, it actually it lit up something in my brain where it says that, you know what, I'm not saying I'm glad I went through it, but because I went through this,
yes, I
have a better understanding. I have a stronger shield. I have a better tough skin towards these things. So if it approach me, I know how to deal with it. Or if somebody's dealing with it, I know how to approach them properly. Because again, when you have these kind of exposures, it forces you to understand. It forces you to see a different perspective, because you went through these things. You are able to like have sympathy for somebody else.
Well, I would say empathy. Yeah, but because, and the thing is though, you have to also seek understanding, because your natural reaction is to not understand. Your natural reaction is to be pissed off. Right? It's to be mad. It's to be, you know what, I can't stand this dude, whatever. That's your natural reaction, because, you know, that's just us. That's how we're wired. But the moment that you decide to be intentional on, why am I mad? Or better yet, why is this situation here? Is it just because this is a bad person? Is this just because somebody doesn't love me? And when you start to weed that back and you start to peel those layers back, you start to understand that, you know what, it's not because this is a bad person. This is not because this person doesn't want to not be responsible. This is not because this person just doesn't want to do this or do that. There were some other issues here. And then when you go really deep, you start to pull back the layers and realize what was the catalyst to all of this stuff. And that's where you start to develop empathy, because you no longer become mad at the individual. You become mad at the situation that led to the decisions of this individual. You know what I'm saying? So again, there's still personal responsibility there, but it gives you understanding. And it goes back to what you just mentioned there. As you face other challenges in life, it opens up this window for you to be better prepared to deal with those challenges, or deal with those circumstances, or deal with those characters who might not necessarily be directly in line with who you are and how you live your life.
Right. And like you said before, it's an experience that you're going through, but you also have to be intentional with just like making a change or be different. Yes. You know, you have to just say, oh, you know what, I see my brother went through this. I see my uncle went through this. I see my siblings are going through this. How can I be different?
That's it.
Or let me understand the situation so I won't go through it. You know what I'm saying? It is a level. You have to reach a level in your life and just say, and stop pointing fingers and say, okay, what can I do to change that dynamic? What can I do to be different? And again, it's a stage in your life that you have to come to. And again, I need to say not everybody's able to come to that term, because everybody has this tendency, like you said before, is to just say, why me, or you didn't, or I don't understand, or if. But if you come to that term where you're just saying, you know what, I understand the situation, it is not my fault. The hand that the person was dealt with during that time, that was their time. The reason why my father acted the way he did was because the situation that he was in, the environment that he was in, the situation that allowed him to do these things. So I can't fault him for not doing these things. All I can do is right now is live in the moment. I can say, you know what happened in the past is in the past. Absolutely. All I can do right now is have a relationship with you now.
That's it. Now is all we have. I mean, you have to think about it. The past, from an economic perspective, the past is a sunk cost. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's water under the bridge, and the future is unknown. Yes, we can think, we can predict, and we can plan, and we can hope for certain outcomes, right? And there's probability that certain outcomes might be the result. But the reality is we don't know what tomorrow holds. All we have is the moment. So what are you doing in the moment? And that's where we have agency. We have control over right now, and how we respond to right now. We don't even always have control over right now. We have control over how we respond to right now. I mean,
yes.
Take the current situation that we're all in right now with the COVID-19 and all of that. We can't control COVID-19, but we can control how we respond to the situation. So, or the social, the injustices that are going on from a racial perspective. We can't control what's going on, but we can control how we respond to those things.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yes, absolutely agree. All right. So how is the dynamic between you and your dad?
Again, like I said, it's taken a while for me to get to a place of healing and understanding. But the moment that I got to that place, it's like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so he and I have a good relationship. Like I mentioned, not long before this call, he and I just text back and forth. And, we talked a couple times earlier today, and, they just came to visit us like 2 weeks ago. I mean, like I said, we have a good relationship. And again, it goes back to what we just talked about a second ago. It's about being in the moment. What happened in the past, you know what? That's water under the bridge. We cannot do anything about it. And tomorrow's not promised. But what do we have right now? And again, for me, after going through this healing process of really deep diving into, what were the causal factors behind, some of the addictions and things of that sort, like it gave me understanding, and it makes me just really to really have more love, because I'm just like, man, had I been placed in those situations, how would I have responded? If I didn't have outlets and therapy and this or that. I mean, it's so to that point, he and I do have a solid relationship now, and he's a great grandfather to my kids, and my brothers and all have a good relationship with him. I mean, so we're it's a good thing, man. And like I said, I'm blessed to have my father in my life.
Beautiful. And you said you have with your kids right now, that you just mentioned right now, and that's generation, that's like the third generation. So looking at your kids right now, right, their behavior, their personality traits, and the way that their character is growing up, do you find that there is some characteristics in you that you find in your dad and maybe even your kids?
Interesting. It's funny. My dad's kind of a know-it-all, right? Like, he's, kind of, he kind of knows everything. And at times I can find myself being a know-it-all, right? Like, and it's funny because I see that in myself. And it's funny, the thing about yourself that you see in someone else, a lot of times is a thing that's most aggravating to you. Right. So that part of him aggravates me. I'm like, dude, you don't know. But then when I look in the mirror and think, I'm like, my wife always kind of gets me on, like, dude, you don't know everything. Right. But then it's funny. I see that play out in my two little ones, my little girl and my little boy, my 9-year-old daughter, Morgan, and my 7-year-old son, Maxwell. Like, will, they have a tinge of the know-it-all inside of them. And so, and that frustrates me. But then I had to pause and think that, man, what's frustrating me about that is the fact that I'm hearing and or seeing myself, in them. And so
it's a reflection, right?
It's my reflection 100%, brother.
Some of these things you can't even fight, because I mean, one is genetic, and two, these things is just like, it's in you. You really you can't even, no matter how hard you try. Let's say you never met your dad,
Hmm.
Still today, even if you didn't meet him, there's a lot of characters in you
Yes.
that will show. Even the way you talk, the way you
Hmm.
act, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat other people. And I'm
Yes.
pretty sure as soon as you meet your dad, you'll be like, "Whoa, that's me, man! Like I never
Uh-huh.
knew that's where it came from." Even still right now, whenever I talk to my dad, I'm listening to him, or whenever I see him, I look at him and I'm trying to absorb as much as I can before he passes away. I'm not saying he's going, but
Hmm.
I just want to absorb as much as I can because I want to see what is in him that is in me still.
Ooh,
What
that's
is
deep.
in him that I want to capitalize on. Like what has he done or doing that I want to do better at? You know what I'm
You
saying?
know,
I may have that characteristic, but I want to do better at it.
you know what's interesting about that? Just hearing you talk about it, it's also you taking a look into the future in some way, shape, or form. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like we just mentioned, all we have is a moment. The past is done. We don't know what the future holds. But when we look at our parents, we can see a little glimpse of what the future may hold. You know what I'm saying? And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's another thing that I think a lot of us really want to grab onto. It's just like, wow, I want to study you because
Mm-hmm.
I am you in some way, shape, or form, and pieces of me that are mom and dad, what, and some of me is my own self. But the thing is, when I look at my father, there are pieces of him that are me. And so
Mm-hmm.
to that point, you want to study that because you're just like, okay, wow, is this going to be me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess, the good stuff, you're like, okay, I can dig that, but then on the stuff that maybe ain't so great, you're like, okay, maybe I need to head this off by adjusting this so that 30 years from now, I don't have that. It's just like, I think it's like a glimpse into the future, like a fast forward, so to speak.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was when I first was doing this podcast, I was looking up questions to just questions that a son or a daughter should ask the question. And one thing that really stuck out was to sit down as a son or as a daughter to sit down and to ask your dad, tell me your story, tell
Mm-hmm.
me how you were able to overcome whatever obstacle that you went through. Tell me your story about your life. Like, tell me how you and mom got together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just find
Mm-hmm.
the history of your parents. And when you do that, you learn so much
Yes.
from
Yes.
from the upbringing. You learn so much from your personality. You learn so much from who you are because everything about that person helped made you who you are right now and continue
Yes.
propelling you forward. So when you sit down and you talk to your dad or you talk to your mom, your parents, you learn so much more. And I
Mm-hmm.
always encourage that, and I highly encourage that. Even still today, my father, I can sit down. All I gotta do is sit down and just let him tell me his story, the stuff that he went when he was a teenager, when he was running around, when he was just like 10, 15, 30 years old. In comparison to the age that I'm in right now, I'm like, dang, what if I was in his shoe? Would I be doing the same thing,
Mm.
or am I gonna do better? You know what I'm saying? Like it depends.
It's
But
interesting.
listening to the story helped me understand who he is as a person a whole lot more, a whole lot easier.
Mm. That's deep. And I'm gonna tell you, man, that's something. My last grandmother passed away in October of this past year, and so October 2019, she was 92, right?
Mm,
But she was 92, and she had her full mental faculty, right?
mm,
Like literally, she could tell you about stuff when she was 12 and 13 years old and growing up, and how she remembered this and remembered that, and fascinating stories, man. And so to that point, it's literally this whole concept of passing down generational information that
mm-hmm,
is not always captured. So the beauty of you and I doing podcasts and writing books and doing blogs and doing interviews on various platforms and things of that sort, we are in essence creating a tale or creating a documentation, or we're
right,
creating artifacts, so to
right,
speak, that our kids and our grandkids and great grandkids for generations to come can go and archive and want to know, like, well, what did dad think about granddad, or what
right.
did dad think about this, or when dad and mom traveled to so and so, what were their thoughts on this? I mean, we're documenting all of that and archiving it for our kids. So there's still an importance to sitting down and having those conversations because you're building community and relationships that way. But the other part to it is, which the generations prior to us, especially like our grandparents, but even our parents, a lot of them didn't really have documented information that could get passed down. You might have some family tree information and maybe some Polaroid pictures here or there and some picture albums, but the reality is that's it. Whereas our generation on, you're going to be, put it this way, our great grandkids are going to be able to hear our voices.
Yes.
You ever think about that? 10 generations from now, they're going to be able to hear our voices, see our images, see videos of us playing with their great grandparents, which are our kids now. You know what I'm saying? Those things are being captured now. And so it's going to take the guesswork out of, I wonder what my great grandparents were doing when they were my age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Aside from some potential stories or, some stories that were passed down that we don't know if they were true or not. Our kids, think about that. Our kids are going to be able to look at an image, look at a picture, look at a video, listen to hours upon hours of dialogue of their 10th great grandfather doing interviews with some dude down in Tennessee. Think about, it's a fascinating phenomenon.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. And I think about it so much. As I grew up, I'm thinking about my mom and I'm thinking about myself. My mom didn't have any Polaroids. She didn't have anything. None of that. And it's hard to come up with pictures of my mom when she was younger, because she didn't have that. She didn't have the privilege of having a camera. She didn't have the privilege of taking pictures and storing it and then bringing it up again for her kids. She doesn't have that. Now I'm bringing it back to myself. Growing up myself, I didn't have that. But now I'm looking at my son. He has all that plus. He has videos. He has pictures. He has podcasts. He has all that stuff at his hand. So if I'm not here, when I'm not here, I can say he can literally reflect on these things and say, I need to listen to my dad's voice. Let me listen to the podcast.
Dude, do we know how, because you think about, you go back to the old African traditions of, sitting under the baobab tree and, the elders will sit around and tell you stories about the history and the journeys and the this and the that, that was like oral traditions that were passed down. But the thing is, without the elders to do so, there was no tradition to get passed down. Now, whether the elders are present or not, those traditions are getting passed down because we're able to capture and, capture and save and disseminate this information. It's a powerful thing, brother. Like you just say, it's a beautiful thing.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm just like, man, I can only imagine just like listening to my dad. If that was me, listen to my, envision it as my son listening to me. But I'm thinking about my dad. If I had the chance to just see my dad and his prime, see my dad when he was just like age 24, 25 years old, his tone, his posture, the way his demeanor, the way he carries himself, all that stuff. If I was able to I can tangibly see and touch these things, it would be so much of an essence. I could say, man, that is exactly who I am. That is exactly how my brother is. That is exactly how my sister is.
It's such a fascinating fact, and because you're making me, it's like chills just went down my spine thinking. It's just like I would love to be able to sit down and listen to my grandparents or my great grandparents, have conversations. Like I would love to be able to just pull up an audio or video and listen to my great grandparents, have conversations, even if it was not about anything, but just to hear their voice, to hear how they communicate, to see a video of how they carry themselves when they walked across the room. You know what I'm saying? Like those things. And it's just like, we look at now what we have at our fingertips and the abilities. It's like, it's such a blessed time to be alive. I know we have a lot of challenges going on and a lot of people will lean to the negative, but when we lean to the positive side of it and realize that, man, in the midst of all of these challenges, social justice and racial injustice and the COVID-19, all of these things, there's still so many of opportunities for us to capitalize on. And we have every reason to walk forward in purpose and make an impact and leave a legacy so that our kids will have something to, to fall back on and to listen to and to connect with and to learn from.
Yes. Yeah. Now, speaking of legacy, and that is pretty much what you and I are doing right now, leaving a
Hmm.
legacy behind.
Yes.
Now, now looking back into your dad and his experience and your experience with him, what would you say is the greatest lesson that you learned from him?
Man, the biggest thing that I can tell you about my father is he is resourceful. Like, the biggest thing that I've gained from my father is learning how to be resourceful. Like, he's the type of dude that doesn't need to have everything laid out perfect, but he can take a little bit of that, a little bit of this, mix them together, find this thing over here, put it with that, and he can figure out a way to make something work.
Mm,
Right. And I find that in myself. A prime example, I'm like the primary cook in our house. Like, I like to cook. Cooking is relaxing for me, right? And so my wife and actually my little kids will come in the refrigerator. They'll open the refrigerator. They're like, Daddy, there's nothing in here. We don't have anything to eat. And I'm like, okay, y'all, give me 30 minutes. And then next thing you know, I whip something up because I'm, a leftover piece of this and a something of that and something, and I'll make some rice for this and I'll add this to it. And next thing you know, we'll have this meal. And they're like, where did you find all of this? I'm like,
mm,
it was sitting right there.
mm,
And to me, that's a little characteristic that I pull from my dad. He's that type of dude who has the ability to be resourceful and to make things work. But what's funny about it is my grandfather was the same. His father, like my
mm,
granddad, was the one. Like every time we used to go to his house, he was always back there fixing something and repairing something and reusing something or using something for a different purpose. It was always this resourcefulness. You know what I'm saying? And so that was something that was passed down to him from his generation. That was a guy who grew up in the Great Depression and got drafted in World War II and was a farmer, from the country and, did his thing. So they didn't have all the nicest stuff. So they had to learn how to make stuff work. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? And so those tendencies passed down to my dad, and he learned how to make stuff work. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? And figure out how to make do with what you got and mix this and mix that. And next thing you know, you got this awesome thing here. My dad was able to do that. And that's something that I've pulled from him. And it's funny with my two kids, my little boy is very similar to that.
mm.
Like he literally, my little girl's one that needs a little bit more things, a little bit more put together. My son, you tell him, hey, just go find something to play with. He might have a glove from this outfit, a broken drumstick and one shoe on and something else. And he's playing a game in the room with all these broken pieces. You know what I'm saying? He's able to be creative and figure out a way to make it work. And so again, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier about how things pass down,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they're not even taught. It's like this genetic gene lineage passed down thing that happens, and unbeknownst to us, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's the biggest thing for my dad is literally learning how to be resourceful and to make things work. No matter what it is you have with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, that's great. And even with my dad, I there's so many. I like when he sits down and tells me, look, I need to tell you this. Listen, and that's when I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a lesson learned.
Uh-huh.
Bring out your notepad. You know what I'm saying? And those things that he tell me, I don't even need to write it down. It just sticks to my brain. And I
Mm.
love those moments when he's just like, it's a teachable moment.
Yep.
He would just tell me to just like, okay, just listen. And his tone change, his posture change. And when he speaks directly to me. And I can tell that he's envisioning what he's saying before he say it. So I
Mm.
can understand and get it directly. And I love that moment when he just tell me, look, if I were you, well, when I was your age, I did this, and that.
Mm.
As you're growing up, you are in a better state than I am or than I was. So I need you to start doing this. So I did this. I want you to be different. I want you to act different. And
Mm.
once you tell me these things, it just like it sticks to me. I love
Mm.
getting lessons from people. Ever since I was young, I always like to hang around older people because I feel like they had more to give. I had more to gain from them. So whenever I would go out, even go to the church,
Mm.
I'll sit down and listen to the elders and just talk about the
Mm.
Bible and listen to the scriptures. And I fell in love with that. And I always loved being around adults because I feel like they had so much to give and I had so much to learn. And that's the
Mm.
only person that I can get that from. I can't learn that from my peers because they haven't learned that yet. But I've always
Mm.
been attracted to that because I love learning new things. I love gaining new knowledge from other people's experiences. That's why I love doing this podcast because I like to listen and hear somebody's experience, hear
Yes.
your challenges, hear your obstacles, but yet you made it. You're here. You're able
Mm-hmm.
to go through these things, and you're here. And I want to hear that story. I've
Mm.
always loved, ever since I was young, I always loved doing that. So this is definitely just like something I enjoyed doing for a long time. I just now just recording it. Every
Mm.
time I go out with someone, I'm like, look, tell me your story. How did you become who you become?
Mm.
Because everybody went through an obstacle, everybody went through a hurdle, but you made it. How did you make it? And how are you transferring that to the next generation?
Ooh, that's deep. I love it. I'm the same way. I love stories. I love stories. I love the why. I love the journey. I love the twists and turns, the nooks and crannies. I love all of that because to me, that helps to give you context.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, I was thinking about a concept the other day. And the whole concept is you need to always make room for nuance, but you need to not make any room for complication. And to me, nuance is predicated on context, right? Because you can't just say everybody does this or each group does this. There's
Right.
nuance, and that nuance is predicated on context. And to me, the context comes from the story. Because when you hear somebody's story, then it's like, oh, now I get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so to your point, like, that's why there's a lot of issues in society, is because we're such a microwave society. Everything's a headline. Everything's a one-off thing, and who made this quote, or they take one line from a 30-minute speech and use that, and whatever it is. And the problem is, yes, that line might be incendiary or that line might be hurtful, but if you didn't get the 15 minutes prior to it, you didn't get the context, because that context would have then helped you to understand that, oh, that sounds this way, but it was meant for something else. That's nuance. And that nuance comes from the context, which comes from the stories. And so to me, I'm always one who's really a big fan of stories, because that then gives me the understanding, or gives me the opportunity to fully understand, so that I can approach something in a way that is honest and that is not quick to judge. Because that's when we get in trouble. We hear one line and we're just like, this person is this. I'm like, whoa, pause, let me hear some backstory. Let's see what happened, what led up to that, what was the reason behind this or that, and then I'm more informed in my decision making. So, and I think that comes back to the whole concept of being interested in stories, and because it gives you context.
Yes. If you had the chance at any given time, let's say your dad was in front of you right now, and you had anything that you wanted to tell him, what would it be?
I would simply just say, I love you. Like real talk. Like, that's, love is something that is, and as a guy, saying it to guys, it becomes challenging. You know what I'm saying? Until you have a son, until you have a kid, it becomes easy then. But even growing up, you feel somewhat uncomfortable. Like, Dad, I love you. It's just like you're kind of uncomfortable. But when you start to really understand what love is, the whole concept of love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't boast, love is commitment. It's that whole thing of, you don't have to always like, but you should love. And so for me, it's, I love you. That would literally be just, if I had to tell one thing, it's like, hey dude, I love you. And I mean, I say it now, when we talk, but that's it. Like, that's it. Because I think that in itself is the core of it all. Like, I think if you start with love, you can work through any issue. And yeah, I just think so. For me, it would just be simple. Just, yo, I love you.
Nice. Yeah, it's just a three simple words. But if it's not something that you used to say, it's not something that you grew up hearing. Especially, like, again, for me, from a Caribbean parent, we felt it in the house. We knew it was there, but to audibly say "I love you" was not something that we grew up in. We had to learn how to say these things. Not to say we didn't know it; it just wasn't there. But it's such a powerful word. Like you said, if you start with love, everything else can just like iron out by itself. Everything else would just like will flow a whole lot easier. But I 100% agree. Let's talk about dadhood.
Okay.
Tell me about dadhood.
Man, I love it, man. It's being a father is challenging, but it's fun. I tell any guy who's about to be a dad, I always say that you're gonna be ready and not ready at the same time. Like that's life. Like you're gonna be ready and not ready at the same time. You're prepared yet totally unprepared at the same time, all the time. Like there's,
Mm-hmm.
it's this it's a beautiful experience that is really hard to encapsulate in words because you have to go through it. It's like, and I think that's probably the best way to explain it. Fatherhood is this thing that to fully understand it, you have to go through it. Because when you sit in a room with other dads, you can just kind of give the look and everybody understands exactly what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's fun, man. Like our kids are 9 and 7 now, and they're really coming into their own from a personality perspective. Again, it's like no day is exactly the same. There's
Right.
always something new. It can go from 0 to 100 back to 0 in the span of 48 seconds. Uh, it's but it's awesome, man. I would not trade it for anything. I mean, marriage and being a father, man. I just, it's been everything and more than is what I expected.
Great, great. So, and while you were growing up and dating and becoming a husband, and becoming a dad that you are right now, did you have any perspective or vision of what kind of dad you wanted to be? And do you think you're that person now?
Man, honestly, dude, I just knew growing up I wanted to be a great father at some point, as a kid, and part of that was because, again, growing up with the challenge of, having a father who struggled with the disease of addiction, it makes you want to, it gives you the side of things that you don't want your kids and spouse to have to experience. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that was one side of it. But then again, like I said, I love my dad. He is there. And then I also had other examples of great leaders and men in my life as well. And so to that point, I had like this plethora of examples, and I could pull from a lot of them. But I just knew that in my heart, I wanted to be a solid dude. I wanted to be a great husband. I knew I wanted to be a great father to kids at some point. And am I living up to that expectation? Honestly, I don't know. I think it's like a hard question because I guess you can do the whole I dream that I'll be doing this and have all these different metrics or whatever. And, and I think that's hard to kind of put into present time because in 1992, what I thought would be a good dad is totally different than, being a good dad in 2020 to an extent, aside from the, being present and loving and protecting, providing, and all of that stuff. But, so I don't know if I'm living up to, the expectation. I just know that, I'm in the moment. I love it. And I want to be better at it tomorrow than I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an ongoing process, and I've said this in the podcast before, and I'm gonna say it again. Is that you know what? There is no guidelines. There is no book to read that's gonna prepare you to become a dad. Like you said before, it is a journey that you got to take. You can look at other people's examples and see what you can capitalize on. But once you become a dad, it is different for each and every child, each and every person that goes through it. And I encourage it, and I always encourage where if you're not ready to be a dad, if you're not mentally ready to be a dad, when you become a dad, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for you because now you're not ready for that change. You're not ready to take on that challenge. And I'm not saying it's not going to be able to be done. I'm just saying because you're not mentally there, you're not ready to grow. And if you're not ready to grow, anything that comes your way is going to be a problem. It's going to be a nuisance. It's going to be like, I'm not ready for this. I can't do this. So I'm going to run away from it. And that's something that I see with a lot of people that are close to me, my uncles and aunts or brothers and sisters. I see like if you're not mentally ready there, even if you wanted a child, if you're not mentally ready to grow as a person when you get married, if you're not mentally ready to grow when you have a child, then all this stuff is going to be a problem for you. You're not going to grow. If you're not going to grow, you're only going to cause more pain to yourself and the person that's around you. That's why I always encourage, before you do anything, you gotta start up there. You gotta start your head first. Change in your head first, and then it will comes out externally. So anybody that's gonna be a dad or wants to be a dad, that's looking forward to be a dad, I always say, look, right now, you need to be in a state of mind where it's not about you. And if that child doesn't come, if a child comes into your life and it doesn't change you physically and emotionally, there is something wrong there that you gotta have to go back and say, okay, what is this? Why is this changing? Why don't I feel a certain way? Or why do I want to continue being a bad boy or player that I wanted to be? Because once you have a child, for me, at least personally for me, once I had a child, it changed almost everything in me for the better. I wanted to do better. I have to do better because I knew what I went through as a child. I knew what I endured, and I deliberately said I never want my child to go through this, and I want to give him better. I want to do better for him, and I want to continue pushing to do better. That's why all this stuff that I'm doing right now, it's not only for me, it's for the future, or he can see what I'm doing, and again reflect back and say, okay, let me flip back and listen to Dad. Let me see how strong-minded my dad was. Let me see how driven he was. He was able to do a podcast. He's able to write a book. He's able to travel. All that stuff. I could do it too. Not only I could do it, I'm going to capitalize and do it better. And I'm always encouraged. I want my son to do a whole lot more than I'm doing.
Absolutely.
I'm pushing myself now, but I want him to do more.
That's it. I want mine to be better than me.
Yeah.
I don't care how great, I am to them, because my thing is, it's not about being great to the world. It's about, part of my affirmation is, I am the husband that my wife needs, but then I also say I am the father that my children need, right? So whatever that is, I want to be that for my son and my daughter, and I want my son to be better than me as a father, meaning he takes what I do and he builds upon that as he becomes a father later in life. But on the flip side, my daughter, I want her to aspire to, find a husband who embodies more than the things that I bring to the table. It's like I want to set the platform for them to then stand upon and then build. You know what I'm saying? And it's not putting myself down or setting like crazy expectations. It's just the whole concept of improvement. You know what I'm saying? Escalating this thing, throughout the generations.
Yes. And speaking of your child, I know you have two, a boy and a girl, which is great. And just looking back on it right now, can you describe the moment that you met your son and your daughter?
The moment that I met, so my daughter was the oldest, so she was, she's 9, and I remember the moment that she was born. It was just a beautiful moment, man. Like I was involved in the process, cutting the umbilical cord, and and just the fact of holding something in your arms that you see yourself in. That's a powerful moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never had a feeling like that before. Like other things that you can see, oh, you look kind of like this person, but you're actually holding a person that you can see the nose look like yours, or their eyes look like yours, or their feet look like yours. I mean, oh my gosh. And that applies to both of my kids. It's like, it's such an amazing feat. And, but then it's also such a great responsibility, because you are responsible without a doubt for this little being that is in your care. And so it's a powerful moment, but then there's also a scary moment at times too, because you're just like, this is such an awesome responsibility. But those moments, man, it was beautiful, man. Like it's beautiful. That's the only way I can put it. It was beautiful. I lumped them both into the same because, the experience was identical. It's like when you hold them, when I held him, it was the same thing. You see yourself into a being, like you see your characteristics physically into a child that your wife just gave birth to, that you just watched, that you participated in by cutting the umbilical cord. I mean, it's a powerful moment, man.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it allows you to be vulnerable. It allows you to be it breaks all barriers down.
Yep.
And when I first saw my son, when I first saw my son, first of all, I was scared to see him. I was scared to turn around to see him. And my wife had to tell me a couple of times, he's here. Like, he's right here. Turn around. This is your son. Like, and she had to tell me several times. And mind you, she's the one she's the one that had a surgery. And she's still telling me, turn around. And the moment that I turn around, like, the floodgates open.
Yep.
Floodgates open. Emotion, everything. I was just like, oh my God, he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's here. And he let out this cry. Still today, it resonates in my ears. He let out this cry, and I hear it. Anytime I hear it, it's so comforting. It's so warm. It's so like the first time I actually heard my son. The first time he cried, I heard my son. I'm like, this is my son. This is part of me. This is part of me. Like, I am responsible for you right now. This is who I am supposed to cater to, and supposed to like carry on and do everything within my power to help out. This is the person that God anoints me with. Like, this is amazing. Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm just like, yo, this is amazing. This is a beautiful thing. And this is the kind of experience that I look forward to having each and every time. I have one kid right now. You know, God willing, whenever we have another child, that's the same experience that I look forward to having. And I absolutely love that moment. And I continue reflecting on that when he just cried. And just like, it literally broke down every single barrier within me.
It's real, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And speaking of lesson, I know I spoke some lesson before about your dad that taught you. And what are some lessons that your kids taught you?
My lessons my kids have taught me, well, they're teaching me currently. You know, I would say definitely patience. You know, that's one of the things that I struggle with. I struggle with patience at times, you know, and so my kids are teaching me patience, because you cannot rush being a kid. You know, you just can't do it. You cannot rush the process. And so to that point, they're teaching me patience. They're forcing me to slow down. I might want to hurry up and get something done and go here and go there and hurry up and put your clothes on. Just run out the door real quick. And, you know, it might not go that fast. One of them might have an issue tying their shoes, or they might have to go to the bathroom, or they might have to, you know, go and do this or do that, or have an accident somewhere. It's like literally they teach me patience. But then they also teach me to let go and just to relax at times, you know, because sometimes, you know, I get high strung and worked up about things. But for them, you know, they want to play. They want to be safe. They want to feel loved. They want to have fun. That's what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so it forces you to do that. Just today it was raining. And so as soon as we got home from school, you know, they wanted to, they didn't even take their backpacks in the house. They dropped them in the garage, got on their bikes to start riding through the rain puddles. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just in the moment, like little things like that, you can't script. You know what I'm saying, in life. And so they're teaching me to live in the moment, man, to be patient, to live in the moment. But then the other part to it is, it's just the realization that we have a short window with them. You know, I did an episode a while back, and the whole concept was, you know, our kids are in essence a 20-year long-term lease. Yes. If you really think about it, they're give or take a year or two. Our kids are a 20-year long-term lease as it pertains to actual parenting, because after that point, you pretty much are just an advisor or consultant for your kid. You know, you're not parenting them. So you really have 20 years to parent your kids. And after that, you're just an advisor. And so my kids are 9 and 7 now. You know, I'm pushing up on the halfway point. And so when you start to think about that, it makes you want to pause everything and just be in the moment. It's like, you know what, we'll pick everything else up in life, you know, later on. But right now, I'm going to enjoy this next, you know, 10 to 12 years that I have y'all in the house. Because I know there's going to be a point or a time in which you're going off to college, or you're moving away to start a business, or you're going to, you know, international, whatever, to, you know, trek across other countries or whatever you're going to do. But I know there's going to be a time in which you're going to leave. And because of that, I want to relish these moments. And so they're forcing me to be present, to be in the moment, but then also to kind of let go and just enjoy.
Yes, and I absolutely agree with the point that you just said before. You know what? That's a great lesson to learn from your or continue learning from your children is how to live in the moment. You know,
Yep.
take in the moment, take that time and just like absorb it because again, I've said it before where you're never gonna get it back because once it's past, it's done. Because I know myself, I have the tendency to just like overwork myself. To a point where my wife had to tell me, take a break, you know, take a day off. And even when my day off, I'm like, what am I going to do? She was like, I don't know, work on a podcast, work on something that's up for you, take the kids to the park. Like, this is the kind of stuff that she's telling me. And even with my son, he literally sometimes had to make me think twice. Okay, do I really need to just like continue doing this? Do I really need to get upset about certain things? And he would just look at me and just, again, that look where it just like melts every worries away, saying like, why? Because as adults, we just want to just like, we want to rush. Let's go, because we experience it. We went through this, and we want to just like get over it and just like move on. Where as kids, it's just like the world is my playground. Why am I rushing? I can go literally in my room and I have hours upon hours. I can go into the bathtub and have hours and upon hours. I can go in the living room. I can go with my mom. Everything is a joy for them, you know. And this is to reflect back to what the Bible said. You have to be childlike to enter the kingdom of heaven.
I was going to ask you the same question. Does the Bible say to be adult-like, or does it say to be childlike?
Childlike. In order for you to reach the kingdom of heaven, you gotta be childlike, and that put me into that mind frame where why do I need to be like so caught up on like I have to or we don't financial, and then we don't have this, and I'm not working. We got like it's so much I put on myself at time where I'm just like, oh, I'm overwhelmed myself. I'm just like, this is too much, and I have to take a step back and say, look, your son is in front of you. He's asking you a question. You don't even hear it because you're so caught up on yourself. So I have to take a step back and say, okay, what is it that you want? Okay, fine. Let's put the computer down. It's just going to be you and I. Oh, you want this? No problem. Because again, once those moments are gone, you cannot take it back. They cannot take it back. We have to sometimes take a step back and sometimes we got to be like children. And that's the reason why for me, I can honestly say I appreciate that about my wife, where we can be kids in each other's eyes. We can be immature with each other. We can be that person, and I love that because we playful. We do all sorts of stuff, and she allowed me to do that, and I allow her to do that. So it becomes a relationship that's refreshing every day. It allows me to breathe every day because we allow each other to grow. We grow with each other. When we get to an argument, we have time. We just sit down and discuss. There are things at times where, let's say, we open our Bibles and to have a devotion, and we would talk for hours. And hours about examples and experiences and stuff we've gone through, how we can incorporate in our lives, and I love that about her. And I'm happy to find someone that I'm able to share that with, where I can be a child, I can be serious, and I can be fluid as much as possible. And I honestly look forward to that. So when you said that, you know, you have to live in the moment, those are the stuff that pop into my head because you know what? Sometimes we get so caught up in the moment that we don't even like take it in. We don't even absorb it because now we just think about what tomorrow. Tomorrow we don't have this. We don't have this. And again, even my wife was saying that she was like, "Why are you worrying about what happened tomorrow? We live in today. Let's live for today, and tomorrow we can live with tomorrow." You know what I'm saying? And we have a tendency, and I know I have a tendency. I'm not gonna say anybody else. I'm to myself. I have a tendency to where it's just like I'm so over worried about what's gonna happen in a month or so that I forget that I have the breath of life in me today. I'm not guaranteed tomorrow, but today I'm living. I want to be grateful for it and just say, okay, you know what? I have today. Let's live for today. Let's be happy for today. Let's move on for today. When tomorrow comes, I can deal with that. But I'm so caught up in myself that I can't even like.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. You know, you said like you find yourself being worried about next month or tomorrow. What is that rooted in?
It's rooted in my upbringing, right? It's my upbringing because I didn't have much growing up. I wasn't financially. My parents was not financially. It wasn't educated. My mom was able to take care of everything, but still, you know, money issue was always a problem. So growing up, I'm always figuring out, okay, how can I find a way to save? How can I find a way to just like make ends meet? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's always like I need to find a way to just like make it for tomorrow, because again, when I was in that state, I was not able to think about the next day. I had to survive for that day. So growing up not able to receiving, not able to like eat another breakfast or a lunch or a dinner, like where it's coming from, it gave me a tough skin when I growing up, saying, okay, I need to do this, I need to prep myself in the future so I don't have to fall into the same trap that I was in when I was younger.
But hold on, I'm gonna throw something at you though. That was how you grew up, correct?
Yes.
But you're here today. So it's interesting, sometimes when we think about the struggles that we face in life, the challenges that we've overcome in life, and how we never want to be in those types of situations again, right? Which is understandable. But the reality is, as challenging as they were, as uncertain as they were, you're here. And so when we think about, building courage and confidence in regards to being in the moment, to me, faith is, believing in the unseen, right? Like just understanding that God's got us no matter what, right? But when our faith wavers on the future, sometimes, you have examples, right, to pull from. And so God's like, all right, well, fine. You don't have enough faith to, be in the moment. Look back. So now you look back and you're just like, yeah, that was challenging and that was challenging. This was challenging and this was challenging. But guess what? I made it through all of that. And then he's like, okay, you ready to have faith now? Be in the moment and go to sleep.
Yes. It's a learning process for me. It's a learning process. It's easier said than done. I know I can educate somebody else on it, but when I'm in the midst of it, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But because I'm in the midst of it right now, it's hard to see. It's hard to motivate myself to continue moving, because I just say it's depressing. It's more of just like, I know I'm gonna make it. I have faith I'm gonna make it, but I have to practice it. It's practicing it that's the problem. That's a little harder.
The thing is, it's not even because you do have faith that you're going to make it, right? And so, truthfully, and this is a kind of like an authentic moment here. It's not necessarily the fact of whether or not you're going to make it, because you had a faith that you're going to make it, right?
Yes.
It's how I'm going to make it. So we get caught up in the how, and that's something that I've had to, this is like the faith walk with me. And, I've come up with this philosophy, and the whole philosophy is hands off the wheel, feet on the gas and the brake, right? And the concept of hands off the wheel, feet on the gas and the brake is that, when God says go, I'm gunning it. But when he says stop, I'm stopping it. But my hands are not on the wheel. So he's directing where I'm going. Right. But the problem for us, especially those of us that are high achievers, that are gifted in some capacity in life, is that we have a tendency to want to grab the wheel. And I want to force my will. I want to turn left. I want to turn right. I want to make sure I go this route to where I'm going. Right. So I'm trying to force to my destination, which I know I'm going to get to the destination, but I'm trying to force my route to the destination. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where our challenges come, because, and this is it's a process for me as well. The concept of really letting go and saying, I know where God's taking me, but me having the faith along the process to it not necessarily having to be, going the route that I'm planning out. Because the reality is he might take me fully left and fully right before I get back straight again. You know what I'm saying? And though that left and right detour is all about some lesson or something that I'm supposed to learn from, or that left and right detour may be a detour to help me to avoid some issue that I might have faced had I just gone straight like I wanted to go. You see what I'm saying? So I think, to your point, it's not about the destination, because you know you're going to get there. It's just I want to have some agency and or control over the method of getting to that destination. And that's something that a lot of us, that's to me, when I pull the layers back, that's the real struggle. It's not the destination, it's how I get to the destination. And I'm wanting to, grab the wheel super hard and force my will into making that journey happen the way that I want it to happen versus allowing God to control that, but then still getting to that destination.
Yeah. And again, it's a practice.
Yes.
It's a practice. It's not something you could just like automatically do and just like, I'm okay. No, it's a practice. You got to continue having faith to continue walking that walk. It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
I'm in it
it's
right
hard.
now. I'm in it right
Dude,
now.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Like I said, I'm not speaking from like some guru on the end of the journey. It's like, follow me, young man. I'll teach you all that I know. Man, I'm in the midst of this thing too, and it's a daily struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's a multiple times per day struggle at times because I struggle with the fact that I want things to happen the way that I want them to happen, how I want them to happen, and but then when I do that, I get thought between my eyes periodically to say, Mike, calm your butt down. It's not going to happen this way. It's going to happen, but it's going to happen the way that, I've ordained it to happen. And that's what I have to, basically just submit to.
Yeah. I completely agree. I am right now. This conversation is it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And
for me too.
And it's interesting. The reason why I'm saying it's interesting is because I'm very positive. I try to be as much positive as I can. But again, when you're in your own mess,
yes,
it's hard for you to follow your words at time. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're in it, and again, you can go. You're gonna get over it. You're gonna go through it. It's just within that moment, it's just like, oh, I hope I can like follow my own words. But now to hear my own words, my own thoughts at time projected back on me and say, oh, okay, this is how it is. This is how it feels like whenever somebody's talking to me. Not to say it's hurtful. It's just like, okay, I'm showing you, God. This is pretty much me saying, God is showing me that your reflection. I'm gonna put a mirror in front of you, and the words that you're speaking, I'm going to make it hit right back at you, so you can see what you're saying. Not only is powerful, but it's coming from you, and I need you to start implementing these things. Not only just talking about it, but I need you to start implementing it. Start acting it out. It's not about just speaking and speaking. I need your actions to speak before you can say anything.
Man.
That's how it is.
Ooh, dude, I'm going to tell you, there's a powerful poem by Langston Hughes entitled Live Your Creed. Okay? And Live Your Creed, the first stanza says, for I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. That's the first stanza. The last stanza of that poem says, for I may misunderstand you and the fine advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. That's Live Your Creed by Langston Hughes. And and everything that you just embodied right there was that poem reimagined. Live your creed. It's not about, we can all talk a good game, right? I'm a communicator. I'm a speaker and podcaster, just like yourself. I mean, we can communicate with the best of them. But the thing is, do our actions map to what we're communicating? And that's where the rubber hits the road, because when you want to walk this authentic life, am I taking my own medicine?
Right.
It's a challenge, dude. But I think that's where, and I think it goes back to what we started off in our conversation today about, being brothers, man, being folks who can lean on each other and call with questions and, throw ideas back and forth. Because when you really have a true brotherhood, when you really have folks who, have your best interest at heart, they're individuals who will challenge you. And the thing is, everybody can't do that. That's why friendship is so important. My fraternity's, her motto is friendship is essential to the soul. You know what I'm saying? And I'm big on that, because when you stop and you think about friendship, it's one of those things in which your real true friends can challenge you. They can turn that mirror on you, not from the place of trying to make you feel bad, but from the place of, hey, I want you to see what's going on, because I want you to be the best version of yourself.
Yes.
That's what the thing is all about.
Yes. 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 Ending the conversation with your you as a dad. How do you want your kids to remember you?
I want them to know that they were loved. I want them to know that, I was a man who took care of their mother and loved their mother and set the example of what a man should be in the household in regards to, being a husband and being a father. Um, I want them to just know that they were loved, and that an environment was created for them to grow and to blossom into who they were called to be, and it was never me trying to build them into something that they're not. I want them to know that they were challenged, that they were challenged in a way that was rooted in the intention of them being the best version of themselves, not challenging them to be perfect. I want them to also know that dad never got mad at them for failure. The
Mm.
only thing dad got mad at them for was a lack of effort, right? A lack of effort and having a bad attitude, because those are the two things that they had complete agency over. But dad never got mad at us for failing unless we weren't giving our best. Then he was going to get mad at us. But the reality is that's what it was about. So, and then I hope that there are concepts and principles that they learn through not just what my wife and I say, but how we live our lives that play into how they live their lives, that they build upon, that they take to the next level. And my prayer is that those things are rooted in what they saw and what they experienced, not just what they heard. And because that means that I was there. And
Mm.
so selfishly, that means, I was around to, to give them those experiences and to teach those lessons and to be that example. If that's the legacy that they have of me, I would be happy with that.
Mm. Beautiful, man. Beautiful, beautiful. And to wrap up, for the dads out there, the dads to be, father figures, what kind of message do you want to leave with them?
Man, there's one of my good homeboys. He's out of New York. He has a movement called Fatherhood is Lit, and his name is James Lopez. And one of the things that he always has as a tagline in some of his messages is presence over presence. And so what he's talking about is the being present, right? So
Mm-hmm.
presence, being present over presence, like gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the whole concept of being there. And the main message that, I'd like to, kind of give to brothers and, to guys who are fathers, father figures, mentors, coaches, whoever, if you're that father figure in the life of, a kid or a young person, be present.
Mm.
And being present is not buying stuff, it's not, paying the money, it's not just, saying things. Being present is actually being there.
Mm.
And I know there's certain dynamics in which physically you might not be there, but you can be there in a virtual sense. You can be there on the phone. You can be there. You can be the ear when they need to talk. You can be that example to show them, not just tell them, but to show them how to act. But in essence, it's all about being present.
Mm.
And I think if we're committed, intentional, and focused on being present, everything else falls into place.
Yes. Oh man, beautiful, beautiful. First of all, I wanted to just thank you for this wonderful, I would say episode, but this conversation, man.
Hmm.
It was a long time coming, but it was needed. It was
Hmm.
needed. I feel like I was being coached as much as I was coaching, and I love that. You continue pouring into me, and I'll continue pouring, and I love the dynamic, and I love the conversation. I just want to say thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for coming to this podcast and dropping some like heavy, heavy
Hmm.
dimes right now, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your dadhood. I love the movement that you're doing. I love the way you carrying yourself and the way you treating yourself, the way you're being present. I absolutely love that about you. I just want to say thank you. I'm just
Hmm.
thank you so much for everything that you've done, and thank you for like being on this podcast and being vulnerable and being open and being such a amazing coach. Honestly, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, BJ. And like I said, it's been a long time coming, man. But again, this was much needed, and I thank you because every conversation that we have, and and opportunities to discuss things like this, man. I grow so much myself, and so I just thank you for the opportunity, and I thank you to the listeners and the folks out there, and y'all continue doing what you're doing, and man, you continue doing what you're doing, brother, because you're changing lives.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. In closing, guys, I just want to say thank you again, my brother Mike, for coming through for this conversation, for this talk. It was needed. It was great. It was well worth it. It was well worth the wait. And like you said before, be present. Be present in your kid's life. Be present. It's not about what you give them as far as gifts, but being there for them. The time that you spend with them, the time that you had a conversation with them, the time you took them out to the movies, or you just sit there and just listen. It's not about the gift that you give them, but the gift that you want to give is your presence. And I wanted to applaud everybody that's doing that right now. If you're not doing it, start taking action. It is not hard. Just being in somebody's life is not hard. Being there, call, and just be present. Sometimes we are so caught up on ourselves because we're trying to make good and do good that we lose track of what we need to do is pretty much be there for our kids, be there for our wives, be present. And that's all it is. Be present, be in the moment, be in the moment, be in the moment. Also, as you said, like I always say, be intentional with everything that you're doing. Be intentional about being a dad. It is the greatest gift you can give to your child. It's the greatest gift you can give to your wife is being present and being intentional with everything that you're doing. And again, be the best version of yourself. Everything that you do, you went through life, your dad went through life, now you're here, but you need to be the best version of yourself for your kids, for your child. Everything that you're doing right now is to better the future for the next generation. It's not about you just right now. It ends with you. You need to think about somebody else, your child, or somebody else that you might be influencing that you don't even know. All right, guys, I applaud you if you're doing this dadhood thing. Continue doing it. I applaud everybody that's continue doing that's on this journey. I love you guys. I love what you continue doing. Mike, you are amazing. You are great. And guys, again, I'm not gonna hold you any longer. Thank you, my brother Mike. I will catch you in a few. Bye.
For more Dear Dad podcasts, visit Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Make sure you check Dear Dad Podcast on your favorite Instagram social media platform at Dear Dad Podcast. Catch you later.